I'm Alyssa, and today I'm listing my top 10 games of 2018, and I wanted to wait until after December to make this list because I wanted to play everything I possibly could, but I still have not played every major game that came out in 2018, so if your favorite is not included on this list, it's probably because I haven't played it, such as Monster Hunter World, Octopath Traveler, etc, etc. I haven't played those yet, and I'm kicking myself for not having played those, but if you're wondering why it's not on the list, probably because I haven't played it. But again, this is my list. These are my opinions about what my favorite games are, so if we disagree, that's cool. Let's keep it civil, and let's have fun. Let me know what your top 10 games of 2018 were down below in the comment box, and let's get started. Coming in at number 10 is Forgotten Anne. I feel like a lot of people don't know about this game, but this is developed by Throughline Games, and it is a stunning game. It looks like you're playing an anime the whole time, and the story centers on this girl named Anne who is in a world which is filled with forgotlings, which are these objects that humans have forgotten and they get transported to this other world. And she is an enforcer basically in this world, and she has this instrument on her wrist called the Arca, I believe. It's been a little bit since I played the game, forgive me. And she can extract energy from these forgotlings and also power electrical objects, etc. So throughout this game, you're going around doing your enforcing, trying to figure out what's happening in the city you're in. It's just such a stunning game. It's not too difficult. There are a couple of puzzles that left me a little stumped, but I really love the story. There are multiple dialogue choices. There are at least 2 different endings, if not more. And it's just such a wonderful game that so many people haven't experienced. The controls are tight, the voice acting's pretty good, a couple of the performances were a little iffy, but for the most part the voice acting was top notch. And I just love feeling like I was playing an anime, and I feel like more people need to play this, so hop on it. Coming in at number 9 is Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Usually a Tomb Raider game would place higher on my list, but this one kind of underwhelmed me. It's not a bad game by any means, but I feel like the move from Crystal Dynamics to Eidos Montreal kind of affected the game maybe, but it's still a really good Tomb Raider game. It just doesn't have the impact of the previous two. But let's talk about the good things about this. Again, you're playing as Lara Croft, the rebooted Lara Croft, who's not so overly sexualized, and it's just a lot of fun to play her, to get to go through these tombs, which there are some tombs that have some pretty difficult puzzles. The game world is visually stunning. There's so much to do. There's side quests, there are animals you can hunt, documents to find. There's so much more you can do besides just the main storyline. And the main storyline is pretty interesting to me. You basically trigger the Mayan apocalypse and have to stop it. And for the most part, I really enjoy this game. I do feel like it's underwhelming compared to the first 2 Tomb Raider games in the rebooted trilogy, but it's still highly worth playing if you enjoy the Tomb Raider games. If you love games like Uncharted, this definitely will scratch that itch. Coming in at number 8 is Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I have not been this invested in an Assassin's Creed game since the second one, and I have not been so in love with one of the characters since Ezio. But I love Cassandra, who I chose to play as in this game. You can choose to be either Alexios or Cassandra. Obviously I chose the female option, and this is the first time in an Assassin's Creed game where you can choose to fully play the game as a specific character from either gender, which is really cool. But Assassin's Creed Odyssey feels more like an RPG than a typical Assassin's Creed game. I mean, you still get to do assassinations, but there's so many side quests to do, and there are so many tombs to find. It kind of feels like you're playing Tomb Raider at points, when you go through these tombs and you have objectives to find certain objects, and you have to find hidden pathways. The side characters in this game have stories of their own, and they're all interesting. The voice acting is superb. I have not heard Alexios' voice acting, so I can't comment on that, but Cassandra's is phenomenal. I love this main storyline, which is focused very heavily on family. I'm not going to spoil it, because spoiling it would totally ruin the fun of playing this game and figuring out what the story actually is. But I love also that this game starts with King Leonidas and the Battle of the Spartans. I don't know what you actually call this battle, but it's really cool that you get to play through that as well. I like that you get to upgrade your ability trees, and you know, throughout the game you get better armor and weapons, and you can equip your character with better armor and weapons, and that makes you stronger and more powerful. I could go on and on about this game. Again, it's another visually stunning game but I am super invested in Assassin's Creed. I'm still going to be playing it for many more hours to come because there's so much to do. Coming in at number 7 is Forza Horizon 4. I never thought a racing game would ever make my top 10 games list of any year, but Forza Horizon 4 is different. This is a racing game mixed with an RPG. Again, you're doing all these races, and there are a bajillion races in this game. I'm not kidding. You could spend hours and hours and hours and still not complete every single race. But there's so much more to it than just racing. There's house buying. There's this wheel you can spin that allows you to get better cars, better outfits, emotes, better car horns, which is not the most fascinating thing, but it's fun to play the wheel when you place first or second or third in a race and you get that opportunity. There are billboards to smash, hidden locations to find, special cars to find that you have to drive around and they're hidden in a really hard to find location, but when you find them, they're super badass cars. And the racing is really tight and responsive, and it made me so invested. And the game is constantly, after you're placing in the top 3 in races, advising you to go difficulty level so you get better rewards and progress faster, and you can choose to do that or you can choose to play at the same difficulty. But it's such an immersive game, and I never expected to love it as much as I do. Number 6 is Grease, which is the Spanish word for gray, and this game is just beautiful. This is developed by Nomada Studios, and it's just something you have to see to believe. It's only available to play on the Switch and PC currently, but if you can get your hands on it, please play it. This is billed as a frustration-free, relaxing game. There are no deaths in this game. You're not under any pressure to complete it in a specific time allotment. It's just a wonderful platformer game where you're playing as a young woman who is going through the stages of grief, and this game is very open to interpretation, but I loved what I took from it. The game itself looks like a watercolor painting. As you progress through the game, more colors are added, which just makes it even more stunning. There's no dialogue spoken or written, but the themes are very powerfully conveyed through the visuals and through the journey of the character. And this is one of those games that a lot of people love, but again, a lot of people haven't heard of. So please, if you love games like Journey or Flower or games of that ilk, check out Grease. It's spelled G-R-I-S. It's fantastic. Number 5 is Celeste. This is a super difficult platformer that also covers themes of anxiety and depression, which I thought was just incredible. If you like games like Super Meat Boy, Celeste is right up your alley because you'll be cursing, you'll get blisters on your thumbs, but you'll love every second of it. You want to keep getting better, and every time you die, you learn an important lesson about what you need to do in the game. The game itself is stunning, the pixel art is just gorgeous, and also I love that they did include the storyline, which features themes of, again, anxiety and depression. You see the character you're playing deal with thoughts that she's having and feelings of insecurity, and you see another version of herself pop up occasionally throughout the game, and you have to race against her, and she's a darker version of you, and she's saying these dark thoughts. And I like that the symbolism of the game, how it gets harder and harder, is a metaphor for life itself, and climbing the mountain that you're climbing in the game is also a metaphor for life itself. You have challenges, but you get past them, and it's a difficult journey, but it's so rewarding at the same time. And I just love how this game feels like real life at the same time. So if you're looking for a super hard platformer game, Celeste is perfect for you. If you're looking for a game that covers topics about mental illness, Celeste is perfect for you. And the controls are just so tight and responsive that this is worth checking out. Coming in at number 4 is probably going to be a controversial choice, but for me that is Detroit Become Human. I'm a huge fan of David Cage and Quantic Dream's output. I've loved every game they have released so far, and Detroit Become Human was, again, another win for me. I love the storyline, I love the 3 different protagonists you play as. The visuals were stunning per usual with Quantic Dream's games. And I really liked how you could choose to either be passive or aggressive. I liked that there are obviously different endings, different choices you can make, different dialogue options. You can actually have a character die and you can't do anything about it, you just have to keep playing the game. I like the themes that it was talking about. It obviously hints at prescient topics that are in society today, but you don't have to see those themes. But for me, I saw those and I appreciated those. This is not a game for everyone, I will admit that. This is a very cinematic game. There's not a ton of gameplay, but the gameplay that is there does add to the narrative. So if you love Quantic Dream's previous games like Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, Indigo Prophecy, definitely check out Detroit Become Human. If you love narratively driven games, Detroit Become Human's perfect for you. And all of the actors are also really good in this. Swinging in at number 3 is Marvel Spider-Man. Spider-Man has never been my favorite hero, but after playing this, I have a much deeper respect for him. In this game, you play as Peter Parker, but he is in his mid-20s, I would say. He's going through some difficult times, but he does know what he's doing as Spider-Man, and it's so much fun just to swing through New York, and it's so much fun to do all the side missions, and the storyline is very hard-hitting, and there are a lot of themes covered in it that I wasn't expecting from a superhero game. I love the inclusion of characters such as Miles Morales, Mary Jane Watson, Aunt May, certain villains that I just felt so elated to see and to be able to fight in the game. The voice acting by Yuri Lowenthal is perfection, and I just love that there's so much content in this game, and I've heard the DLC is really good as well. I haven't played that yet, but this is a game you definitely need to check out if you're into action games, because the combat in this game is very similar to the Batman Arkham combat systems, but I actually think I prefer this system a little better, to be honest, because it's very rewarding, it's very responsive, and as you go along in the game, you're constantly feeling like you're being rewarded because you progress, you level up, you get new abilities, you unlock new suits, and there are some really cool Spidey suits, trust me. You unlock new gadgets, you uncover new areas in the map. It's just so amazing, and it's definitely worth every single penny you spend on this game because you're going to get so much out of it. I believe I put in about 60 hours so far, and I still have not 100% in this game. There is a lot of game here for your buck, and I will say this is the best superhero game I've ever played. So definitely check out Marvel Spider-Man. Now, coming in at number 2 is Red Dead Redemption 2. It did not take my number 1 spot because there are some issues with it, but I really, really loved Red Dead Redemption 2. I loved playing as Arthur Morgan. I like shaping him into the outlaw I wanted him to be. The game is stunning. It's so realistic, and that's where a lot of people have issues with it, is the realism, because it's not just realistic in its graphics, but in its gameplay, because you have to make sure your character is fed. You have to make sure your horse is fed, or else you're going to suffer because of it. The world is a living, breathing world, so some missions will, if you don't do them in a certain amount of time, not be available and you have to wait for them. But I just love that there's so much you can do in this game, and the main storyline is so enthralling, and I love seeing familiar faces from the previous Red Dead games. But this is also a prequel, so you don't have to have played the previous games to play this to enjoy it, but if you have played the previous 2, you'll obviously see characters you know and get a little thrill from seeing those cameos. They're not really cameos, actually. They're fully fleshed appearances, but you get my drift. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a game that you can tell had a lot of love put into it. Again, it does have issues, like the collision detection is horrible, and there are some other niggles. Again, it is a very slow-paced game, but it's so enthralling once you get into it. And another point people bring up is the fact that you have to basically just ride around your horse the entire game. There is fast travel, but it's only unlocked after you upgrade your camp, and even then it's not the best system. But I actually found it very relaxing just to ride my horse around the map, so I didn't have an issue with it. I just loved taking in the scenery. I loved having the random encounters happen and helping people out, or, you know, they tried to do me wrong and they got their karma. Just saying. I just loved that it was this living, breathing world, and I was so immersed in it, and I spent so many hours in it, over 60 hours in this game, and I didn't even scratch the surface of all the stuff I could do. So again, Red Dead Redemption 2 is a game that you're going to get your money's worth with. And number 1, my game of the year, my favorite game of 2018 is God of War. I've never been the biggest fan of the franchise, to be honest, but this is a total refresh. I love that this covers so much Norse mythology. I love that you see Kratos as a father in this, and he's so much more nuanced. Christopher Judge does such a great job lending Kratos not just his voice, but his mannerisms and the inflections you hear in his voice, how he talks to his son and how his relationship with his son changes over the course of the game. And I love the fact that Atreus, Kratos' son, is not a hindrance. He's actually very helpful, and I actually relied on him a lot in battles to help me out. And I just love seeing this story unfold. Again, it's another beautiful game, and there's so many hours of gameplay in this. And I like that you could diverge from the main storyline and do side missions, find collectibles, etc. And I really like the themes that this game had about family, about loss, about discovering yourself. It's just such a powerful game, and Cory Barlog did such a fantastic job crafting this game and this narrative, and all of the voice actors and actresses are top notch, and there's just so much to love about this game. The combat is very tight, it's fluid, it feels good to play this game. And I seriously can't think of a negative thing about God of War. It's just so good, and I want to play it again, and I want to try to do the things I missed on my first playthrough. So I have to give it my number 1 spot because it just hooked me in so much and made me love a character and a franchise that I previously hadn't been that connected to. So those are my top 10 games of 2018. I know I didn't play every game. I probably didn't include some games you loved, and that's perfectly fine. But again, let me know what your top 10 were in the description box down below. If you liked the video, leave a like. Also make sure to share it if you liked it because that helps my channel grow. If you haven't subscribed yet, but you like what you've seen and heard, hit the subscribe button. And even if you are subscribed, make sure to hit the notification bell so you're more likely to see my videos pop up. And if you'd like to follow me on social media sites, those are all listed down below in the description box underneath the video. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!